Hey guys, it's Tatsu. Today, I'm gonna respond to some comments on a video I posted the other day about treated water from Fukushima. First of all, I'm not trying to stir up you, and I'm not trying to be Logan Paul. My only aim is to end the rumor mongering in Japan and encourage more people to make decisions based on science. I hope you will get at that. I heard the water has been treated and it's also safe for consumption. Maybe can bottle this into Itoen green tea or Asahi beer to be sold in Japanese markets. Do not dump into the sea, no matter how valid your arguments are. This is useful for me personally and one of the most pertinent questions. And it leads to the answer to the other comments. There is a difference between safety and security. No matter how scientifically proven safe and problem-free it is, it doesn't mean that everyone will consume it with complete confidence. I am a strong advocate of the safety of this treated water. How safe it is, at least in terms of tritium, it is less than the amount of other countries are emitting. The Japanese government has announced that it will release 22 trillion becquerel per year for decades to come. There could be a misconception that all the treated water from Fukushima will be released this year, but actually it will be released over decades. And this figure of 22 trillion becquerels per year is less than that by nuclear power plants in other countries. In 2015, the Tricastin atomic power plant in France released 54 trillion becquerel. The Heysham nuclear power plant in the UK released 390 trillion becquerel, and the Bruce nuclear power plant in Canada released 892 trillion becquerel of tritium. In 2016, South Korea's Wolfson atomic power plant discharged 23 trillion becquerels of tritium into the Sea of Japan. The news of Fukushima is undoubtedly sensational, and many countries are resisting the Japanese government's decision. This is understandable, but based on the data, the countries I mentioned above should do something about their own nuclear effluent before they object. If they want the Fukushima treated water to go into Itoen's green tea and Asahi beer, they should demand the same from the makers of wine, black tea, maple liquor, and makgeolli. Other countries' released treated water is cooling water, which is isolated from the reactor. Japan's treated water is the one directly used to cool down the melted reactor. The wastewater from nuclear power plants abroad is indeed treated differently from the treated water from Fukushima. So let's consider what is wrong with that. It's considered bad because it may not remove the radioactive material removed by typical methods. So if you actually measure radioactivity of the water and everything is below the standard, then it's okay, right? Tokyo Electric Power has announced concentrations of 62 different radioactive substances, including cesium-137 and tritium, and none of them is a problem. If they measure the results and there is no problem, then there is no problem even if the process is different from usual, I think. Why would you dump the water into the ocean if it has no problem to drink? Don't you know how purified water, so valuable for economy. Japanese government, which spent so much budget into Tokyo Olympic, must not want to waste their money to build storages to keep the contaminated water until its half-life. Many countries helped Japan after the tsunami, but Japan is dumping the contaminated water into the ocean in return. Shame on you. As I said before, the treated water is less polluted than the effluent from nuclear power plants abroad. Many countries have helped Japan, and in return, we are taking a safer approach than other countries with nuclear power plants. This is just like saying, Usain Bolt, you are slow, run faster. As for why purified water is not used in the economy, Fukushima Daiichi, like many nuclear power plants abroad, is located close to the sea. This is because it is convenient to import atomic fuels. Moreover, as many people would know, water is heavy. It weighs a ton per cubic meter. There are currently 1.23 million cubic meters of treated water in Fukushima. Transporting this to Fukushima or anywhere else in Japan for agriculture use would also be very expensive. It would be most economical to release this large amount of water. LMAO, this guy kept telling people the marine gives off 7,000 trillion becquerel tritium per year and water is clean, but avoiding the real question. Why not just use up all of the water in Japan instead of polluting the entire ocean? It's your own mess up, own it, Japan. There are two reasons. The first is that, as I said before, if you try to use it in Japan, you will have to pay for transport. The other reason is that this action is futile. Tritium is not a metal like uranium or plutonium, but an isotope of hydrogen. Even if factories and farms use water with tritium, it will eventually be washed into the sea. So, what is the difference between that and slow release into the Pacific over 30 years? Isn't it ridiculous to spend all that money on something completely pointless? Go to Fukushima, drink that treated water. I'm waiting for your new video. I promise you to hit the button on the video showing you are drinking treated water. Japanese. Wow, if there are many Japanese like you, I'm 100% sure Japan falls completely into the bottom in 20 years. I don't have time to travel for just one like button. And if you know how I can get treated water, please let me know. If you really think it's easy to get the water in Fukushima, you are crazy. The treated water is stored in huge tanks in Tokyo Electricity, and the public can't get in them. I don't know about your country, but at least in mine, you can't enter the power company's facilities without permission. If your country is not so dangerous that the public can easily break into nuclear facilities, you should not make such comments. Of course, I don't think I've convinced everyone in the audience. I'm an ordinary person with no connection to the government, and I've only presented the information to the best of my knowledge. This should be done by the Japanese government and the major media, but they are too reluctant to carry out their duty. If the government can't get it right, how can any individual? I was prepared for this when I posted the video, but I was more stressed than I expected. I hope you will grasp that I may refrain from dealing with sensational news for some time to come. Thank you for watching. Bye.